Tuesday evening. I'm just closing up at the office where I do my cleaning. They always leave the heating on, which is nice in some ways because it's nice to get warm for a bit. But it's 24.5 degrees here, and I'm absolutely roasting. I don't know how they get any work done because I'd be asleep in the corner, curled up under the desk, probably at 24.5 degrees. And of course, the other slight annoyance about this is that I now have to go home to my much cooler flat. 24.5 degrees, and they even leave windows open. I dread to think what their heating bill must be like here. Back home now. Felt pretty brisk out there, although I think having cleaned for an hour and a half in those temperatures, anything would feel brisk after that. And it's weird actually, because I've come back in and it's like, my thermostat may be set to 15, but actually it feels really warm in here. And I think half the problem is that when you're in an atmosphere, you're acclimatised to it. So that's probably why they have their heating set so high at the office, is because they sit in it all day and it loses its oomph. So, you know, I might have my heating on at 15 and think it's really cold, put it up to 18, and then in a couple of hours I feel really cold again because you're acclimatised and you want more. So the 15 is reasonable for me. I've still got my hot water bottle on underneath here, which is the standard, and people, bless them, very nice comments, lots of advice, people telling me that I shouldn't have my flat as cool as it is. I just want to remind people that I've been like this for 6 years now, and it's just the way of life. I think of myself as kind of like living like our elders did, you know. Spring, summer and early autumn were times of more comfort, you know, and the harvest, you reap the rewards of the harvest to help you through the winter, and the winter is about just kind of hunkering down. It's a change of the seasons, which is good for nature, it helps things reset, and then in spring everything kicks off again. And when spring comes along, I am so appreciative when you see the nights start to draw out and the mornings are lighter, and when you smell that first smell of spring when you open a window in the morning and you realise it's here, spring is here. It's so exciting. So I value and appreciate the seasons much more differently than I used to. Summers now, I just love the summers. I absorb the simple fact that I can have a window open all day. I can sit out on my front step and do a little bit of gardening. That I don't have to wear multiple layers. I enjoy that and value that so much because I remember what it's like in the winter when it is so different. Anyway, slightly off topic. I wasn't going to go into Morrison's this evening. I went in first thing this morning because I had a survey task to do, looking at ice cream, reporting on looking for certain kinds of ice cream in Morrison's, and that was paying £15, and it only takes about 20 minutes. You record a few videos, you take some photos of the shelf displays, and they pay you 15 quid. So that was all great, did that. So I wasn't going to go back in again, and I didn't go in before I did the clean, which is what I've started doing to stop me from going and buying all the rubbish that's really cheap afterwards. However, I did end up going afterwards. I thought, I'll go and have a look. And actually, it wasn't that bad. So, what do we have here? Lots of mushrooms on discount. Originally 95p. These are down to 24p, so I bought 2 of those. Love mushrooms, very tempted to do an omelette this week now. And they're great in the stir fries, of course. Oh look, Greek yoghurt was £1, now 25p. Always goes down well. It's lovely with cereal instead of milk as well. Not much on the baking counter, thank goodness. But I did see these chunky pork roll. So these are chunky pork and Bramley apple rolls. They're baked. They're more like pasties than rolls. 63p. They were 2.50. There's only 2 of them in there. That was all I got on the baking counter. And then more vegan mayo seems to be the thing for discount at the moment. These were 2.49. 2.49 for that jar or that plastic bottle. Down to 63p. These are great. Mayo just tastes like mayo to me. I have some garlic ones that I'm eating at the moment, which are so nice, but I love mayonnaise. I love it, but I don't buy it because it's usually expensive. These are great. I don't know what the use by date is. 9th of December. That's a lie. I'll put these in the cupboard and they will last ages. So that's my little Tuesday evening shop. I think that's enough. That'll do. Man, another Wednesday clean done. 2 more Wednesday cleans until Christmas. I've just detoured to Tesco on the way back because buy one get one free on 2-minute noodles, Maggie's chicken flavour. That will do me. And now I'm going to Sainsbury's. I've only got 4 days left to make the most of the last of those points top-ups, and I should be able to get myself another 500 points. And there's quite a few things on my Nectar app, so I can get some extra points on things that I wouldn't normally buy now, but they're things that I always use. So it's stuff like coffee, tea, so it's just overstocking, which is fine. I don't mind doing that. So I'm going to get that. And I just joined the Smart Save, which I've never used with Sainsbury's, and I was just kind of looking around at it thinking, do I need another app on my phone? And there was something, it was a discount on something that I always buy, and it was something like £1.60 down to £1.15 or something, and I thought I might as well do that. And you basically scan everything as you go around the shops, and then it works out the discount. So then I think you just pay as normal using your Nectar card at the till, scanning your Nectar card at the till and whatever. So I'm going to give that a go for the first time, because it really is a case of every penny counts. And where I'm seeing things that I normally buy, normally have a stock of, going up. So this thing that I've seen, which is cheaper, it's Sainsbury's maple syrup, and I use it, I'll stick a dash of it in my coffee in the morning, and mostly I use it for baking. I prefer it to sugar, and it is really good for replacing, like if you have vanilla essence or something. So I often use it in cakes, particularly when I'm doing things like courgette cake or parsnip cake. It adds a sweetness that isn't just sugar, so I'll often use it for that. So I can get that, and that price keeps going up. So that was £1.35 for a long time, then it went up to £1.50. Now the last time I went in last week, it's £1.60. But on the Smart Save it's £1.15 I think. So I'm going to give it a go and see if it works, because quite literally I feel like I need to get back every blooming penny I can on shopping at the moment, even though I'm not spending that much. I've got a whole bunch of posts waiting to go live on YouTube, and I'm posting so much at the moment because there just seem to be so many things to say, but I'm trying to keep posts a bit shorter because some of them have been really long. And I'm just thinking about the stuff that I need to do before the end of the year. I've only got, what, 3 weeks until the end of the year. I want to do an end of year complete financial roundup, so I can see how much things have gone up this year compared to last year, and what things I have to plan for early in 2024, because a lot of my big bills come out in the first few months of the year, like my car insurance, things like that. So I need to make sure I'm planning properly so that I don't go overdrawn on any of my accounts. I also need to do a food audit. I try and keep up with everything that I've got in stock on a spreadsheet because it helps me know what I'm actually spending. However, every so often I will forget, and I think I've forgotten a few things. So I think my list of what I've actually got in the cupboards and the freezer is a little bit out at the moment. So I'm going to do a food audit, just checking that I've got the numbers right on things, so it's just a bit more accurate, so that at the end of the year when I say, right, this is what I've spent on food this year, it's actually accurate rather than a bit of guesswork. I like to keep up with my admin. I like a spreadsheet. I like that I have a level of control over my finances now that I never used to have before I got a bit wiser with it. And when I was still tied to other people's finances, like partners and things, which always screws around with your finances. When there's other people involved in your house who are partially dictating what gets used, what gets spent, when you go out, it's really difficult to just say no, or you're going to turn the heating down, or stop leaving things on charge overnight, stop leaving things on standby. You just have no control. So I want to do like a full-on end of year and just get everything straightened out, so when I'm home at my parents' over Christmas and New Year, I can sit down, work out everything for 2023 and put my new spreadsheets together for 2024 so that I can start to plan ahead, because I like to be in control. So yeah, so there we are. So I've just been to Tesco, got the freebie. There were other things I wanted, but as is often the case, it's not on the shelf when you want it. And now I'm going to go to Sainsbury's and do a similar thing. I might try and hit 20 quid because I've got a £2 off. I still have a few presents to buy. I need to get stuff for the kids. I was going to get them art stuff, so I'm just going to have a look and see what I can get, because they might have a really good selection of like pens and Play-Doh and stuff like that. The kids love that. They'll sit and play with that stuff for hours. And there's no point in getting them loads of stuff at Christmas, because there are loads of relatives who buy them a ton of expensive stuff, and there's no point in me trying to not be better but stand out, because they get so inundated with stuff, and they're under 8. Well, the eldest is now just 8, and it's overwhelmed. It's too much. You know, they're all high as kites and chocolate and sweets that other people have got, but my brother doesn't like to have lots of stuff like that. But other people give it to them, and then they're high as kites. So we tend not to see them on Christmas morning. They go out and visit all the other relatives, and that's when they get tanked up with sugar and they get all the other gifts. So by the time we see them, it's usually about tea time. So there's been a little bit of calm down, you know, the worst of it's out of the way. We've had our lunch, we've been out to the restaurant, which is what we always do now. So hopefully it'll be a little bit less. Mum really overbought for the kids last year. It was ridiculous. It took 3 of us to carry it all over the road. It was too much. My mum just doesn't know when to stop. And she says, oh, it didn't look like much. And then you wrap it, and it's bags and bags and bags of stuff. And that look of horror on my brother's face, because they've already had a ton of stuff. My mum definitely has a tendency to buy for quantity. There's quality as well, but it is quantity. It's a lot of unnecessary stuff that they don't need. It's like, how many hats and scarves does one child need in one winter? By next winter, those things will have gone. They won't have been worn much, because winter will be over 3 months later. So I try to get the stuff that they will use up by the time another birthday, another Christmas comes around, like the art stuff. You know, they'll use it up and there'll be more. There's always an endless supply of art stuff. and it's creative, it's nice. I leave all the clothes and things generally to my mum. I do buy the odd thing if I see something that I think is really nice, and I have done that. I did that last year actually, or earlier this year. But it's hard because they're young and they're growing really fast, so they don't really get proper wear out of stuff. So I always keep it really cheap. And there are other young, like nieces and cousins and nephews and stuff, so a lot of clothes get passed on to the next in line really quickly. There's no point in spending a load of money on stuff because it'll end up with somebody else, and you don't know how somebody else is going to treat it. And my family aren't really it's not all about keeping stuff as long as possible. It's like something great to chuck it, buy another one, go to Amazon or whatever, which I can't be doing with really. So I don't see much value in me putting a lot of effort because nobody cares. Nobody really cares. I try to be practical and useful, things that people will actually use, especially when it's things like food and alcohol, because things get eaten, things get drunk, and you know it's been used, it's done what it's supposed to do. So that'll be and I am going to do a little Christmas roundup of what I've spent. I think I'm coming in under budget, which is great, and I want to just do a little show of what I have bought and how I've saved money. Not because it's some kind of boast, oh look what I bought. It's more of a, you know, you can give people ideas if you're struggling to hit a budget and you didn't realise that maybe you could earn gift cards with surveys and use that you could make loyalty points work in your favour. There's just so many things that can bring those tokens down, even just a small amount, because every pound counts at this time of year when there's just so much pressure. And if it means you could stick to your budget in terms of what you wanted to buy, and then it ends up coming in under what you thought you were going to spend, it's got to be good. So I will do a detailed dive into what I've bought, why I've bought it, how I've managed to save a bit of money on it by buying from the right places and strategically to try and get a bit back. Because loyalty points, I think, well, you don't really make the money back, but if you do it the right way, then you can, even if it's just a couple of quid. So, just arriving at a Sainsbury's. We shall see what we can get. Right, so that was my first Sainsbury's Smart Save shop done. Really complicated. Maybe just because it was the first one. I had to get a member of staff over to help me because it made no blooming sense whatsoever. Anyway, so I've got 130 points on the things that I put in my basket that I would normally buy but have now overstocked on. So that's 130 points. I made the next target on the Count Up to Christmas reward thing that Sainsbury's is doing. I'm not going to get the third one, but I made another 500 points, and there's another point overnight coming. There's also so on the Smart Shop I got a couple of discounts on a couple of things which I may not now be able to see. Oh yeah, the gold syrup was 160, now 112. And I also bought the cinnamon, which was 110 down to 77p. So that seems worth it. Yeah, and I got 130 bonus points as well, and the 500. So, and I £5 of that, I think it came to about £6.53. £5 of that I got on Nectar points anyway, so I only had to pay £1.53. So that's good. I now have an awful lot of tea bags in stock. And I bought some greens, 29p. There's a lot of greens there, that'll keep me going. And I bought potatoes, peanut butter, just all stuff I would normally use anyway, that I just wouldn't have bought yet because I already had some in the cupboard. But there's nothing wrong with having an overstock of things you always use. I'm a sucker for peanut butter. Bought cinnamon, so baking, that's great. Potatoes, yeah, that'll keep me going now until the end of the month, so I won't be able to need to buy any more potatoes now. And in fact, any veg that is left over before I go away for Christmas, I will chop up, steam, or blanch should I say, and then I will stick it in the freezer. So nothing ever gets wasted, nothing gets thrown away. I like to have an empty fridge before I go of anything that needs using up. So yeah, I think I did make some money back there. I mean, 500 points in Sainsbury's, it's half in its monetary value, so 500 points is £2.50. I've also had 130 points, so 50, 65p, whatever it is. My maths is shocking. So I've, you know, made back best part of £4 I think in points there with a monetary value, and that goes onto my Nectar card and goes into my pot of Nectar points that I can use to buy other shopping. And I spend on Nectar points all the time because I'm always doing the Canvas surveys, which you just earn Nectar points. You're constantly keeping your balance up, so I rarely have less than about £25 worth of Nectar points on my Nectar card, which I can go in and spend. You can only spend in increments of, I think it's £2.50, but you know, it invariably means I'm paying £1 or something for a shop because I've reached those limits. So it's always, I think the Nectar is probably the best. I think it's probably the best loyalty card. It certainly works for me. Morrison's is pretty dreadful, but I get a lot of yellow stickers and they're so convenient for me just over the road that I can pop in there on all the days when I think that the discounts are going to be good and pick up so many bargains. I mean, when I do my end of year roundup, I'll show you what I spend on food this year, and it's a combination of all discounts, using Nectar points, using gift cards that I've earned through surveys, and my food spend this year has been really small because, and cashback apps as well, getting stuff on cashback apps and getting the money back. It really does make a difference. I've spent barely anything on food this year. I might do it as a separate post because I don't want it to get lost in an end of year thing. Go on. Because I think it's a really useful exercise for people that need to cut down on their food budget, because food prices are an absolute blooming joke still, and they're not going to get any better for quite a while, I should imagine. Oh yeah, I did look for stuff for the kids in Sainsbury's. There was nothing there, no art stuff at all. And the one or two things I saw, I thought, maybe, like little art craft kits. The price was a joke. There was a lovely little set of beads, make your own bracelets, which I thought would be great for my eldest niece, who's really crafty and quite into sewing and stuff, so I'm hoping she might be a little bit crafty like me, but get a better job than me ultimately. And this little pack was really cute, but it was £8. It's an absolute blooming joke. I'd better off making up my own kit. Yeah, I'm not paying £8 just because it's got Sainsbury's written on it. It's an absolute joke. So I shall look elsewhere and do better. Didn't drink the water I was supposed to drink on the way home. I have to drink 2 of these a day. Which is easy when I'm out on errand, but not so much at home, because I'm more likely to guzzle hot tea in my thermos cup than drink water. And we're home. Another day of madness is over, and I'm pleased about that. Ding! Done! End of the day, almost. Light. Whew. 11 degrees in the flat this morning. It feels good. Those temperatures are just starting to climb now, and you can really tell the difference. The difference between 9 and 11 degrees in the morning is just crazy. Look, I'm back down to 2 t-shirts, 2 jumpers. Normally I'd have maybe a dressing gown over here and then possibly a blanket as well. Anyway, I'm running late this morning. Didn't sleep that well last night. There were a couple of guys having a fight at the end of my road, which kept me awake. Or I thought they were having a fight. Turns out they were high as kites and having a very animated conversation. And then they proceeded down my road and started throwing all the wheelie bins around. I don't know why angry men have this thing about attacking wheelie bins, but it seems to happen a lot around here. It seems to be the easiest thing to vent your anger on because it doesn't fight back, and I guess that's what they want. So I was awake for probably a couple more hours than I normally would be. When I woke up this morning and looked at the clock, and I'd overslept by an hour, I was just really disorientated. And I got up quite quickly, and I feel really lightheaded, which I assume is just because normally I would give myself some time to wake up because I'm really slow in the morning. And I kind of shot up thinking, oh God, now I'm like, everything's running an hour behind. I've got to go out and do things this morning. And so yeah, so I feel a bit kind of weird and lightheaded. Like when you've had half a glass of wine and you're just a little bit, just feel it just starting to go, but it's not like you're falling over everywhere. So I'm going to get out and do my errands. I've got to go to the post office and put cash in the bank from yesterday's clean. And then I'm going to go up to where the shops are and have a look for these art things for the kids again, because I did see some stuff the other week that I was thinking about. And I'm hoping that getting out and walking around and whatever will reorientate me after coffee, of course, and when I have got myself a little bit more organised. No idea what I'm doing. Oh, back from errands. Wet and windy out there. Still feel really dizzy. Actually got worse after I got back, so I'm going to see how I get on. Just having one of those days, I guess. I got most of my stuff done that I wanted. I ended up in Poundland. A fair range of art stuff for the kids. So I've got most of their stuff for a tenner. There's just 1 or 2 other things that I need to get, and then I think my Christmas shopping's pretty much done. And are coming in well under budget. I'll do a separate thing on that once I've finished, because there were savings, and I worked out how to, you know, claim money back and by using loyalty points and all sorts of things. Anyway, so I'm going to end this here. It's now lunchtime, so I'm going to have lunch and then kind of have a chilled afternoon because I'm just not with it. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, so that's that. Not very interesting. But to be fair, most days aren't. I'm not planning trips to Hawaii or Santa's Lapland or whatever it is that people do these days. This is what's known as real life. And if it's boring for you, then your life must be much more interesting than mine. Bye bye.